You're still watching This Morning on ITV. Of course, this is the Wednesday edition of your ultimate news and current affairs program on television. Well, we'll quickly go into the interview segment right now. We already have our guest standing by. We have one in the studio here, and we have another one joining us all the way from Kaduna. Well, I'll be introducing the guest, then I'll link you up to Daisy so we kick off fully. Well, we in the studio here this morning, we have Comrade Kelvin Isesele, who is a political activist. Kelvin, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Good to see you. Happy New Month.
Same to you.
The last time I saw you was about a month ago.
You are right.
So welcome to TMI.
Good morning.
And of course, joining us via Zoom this morning is a guest who has been frequent on the show. He's no other person than Honorable Liman Samaila. Honorable, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you on board.
Yeah, I'm so happy to join.
Thank you so much. Well, Honorable Liman is joining us all the way from Kaduna State. All right, over to you, Daisy.
Okay, when I saw Honorable Liman, this thing came to my mind from this just completed Nigerian Idol. The way versus your face show, your shoe shine.
Okay.
It looks very alert and ready for this discussion today. Okay, so today on TMI we'll be talking about do or die politics,
Okay.
voter inducements as well. 2023 election is just around the corner, and we're going to be changing our government, especially from the federal level, and some states, not all, because of these cost issues, so there are discrepancies in when different states now conduct their elections. So we've had several reports reaching us on how these primaries have gone. In the state level, we had some states that had factions, and as such, they were violent, marring the process of the conducting the primary elections. And some others that didn't even have factions, that were just one umbrella body, at least with no one political party. The PDP has done their primaries. There were videos, social media was full with things like that. And there were some others, like even in Edo State, we have reports, even though there were no much pictorial or video evidence on social
As
media.
proofs.
But yes, but some people were at the venue. One of the factional election venue said guns were raining down. Some people went as far as saying they had over 1,000 bullets poured down there. We don't know how true. Some said someone died, some said some gunshots, some said some panic.
In Edo State.
In Edo State too. Electoral violence is there. The quest for power seems to be so intense, and every year, every election, it seems to be getting worse. While we are still dealing with that, it's no news that we have, when elections come, voters are being bought, they are induced with money or material things. So is it a gilly for the women and Kora Pie?
They've gone beyond Gele now. They talk in dollars. Dollars, you know. They've gone beyond Gele.
We're going bigger. We're going bigger. Our visions are getting larger. We're now talking hard currencies. And to talk about the PDP presidential primaries, the old rumors of hard currency, there are even some videos online of people returning the money that was given to them for inducement. They're even saying they want to petition the person who gave them the money. We'll get to that video. It's on social media, even though we've not been able to investigate
independently.
If it's
Yes.
It's legit, if it's true. It's not everything on social media that is very true. So we're going to be starting with Honorable Liman today on this discussion from Kaduna. And I have this question. People see the electoral season as a money-making period. People see the electoral season as a money-making period. How can we change this mindset? Knowing fully well that most of these politicians are using public funds and giving us our money back. But if we don't see money now, it might be a problem because we're used to seeing money. So how, first of all, can we change this mindset in the minds of Nigerians? Can you hear me?
Honorable Liman.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, the question is to me, right?
Yes, directly to you.
Yeah, like you said, many people have seen the electioneering period, the period where they can make money, especially with the conventions that are being held across the country, the congresses and then the conventions that have been planned by parties. I would like to say that presidential elections are naturally very expensive compared to the parliamentary system of government. So while we know that it is going beyond what is acceptable, especially with what you just mentioned, that there were use of even foreign currency in order to induce delegates to vote and so on and so forth. Definitely that shouldn't be what we should expect, especially in a country that is going through great difficulty. But I may also want to say that our political parties are no longer funded by the government, so there's little the government can do in control of expenses. In older democracies, even in the US, there is federal funding for electioneering, and those who accept such kind of funding are subject to some controls. But I remember Barack Obama turned down the offer to accept federal funding, and I'm sure it's because he wanted to be in charge of his funding and his expenditure, so no one have to control him. So in this case in Nigeria, what we should be actually talking about is whether it is right for delegates to be induced. Definitely, delegates are coming from far and near to the convention or the Congress Center or the Convention Center, and they will need some transportation. They will need accommodation because this event sometimes run into 2 or 3 days, depending on where the location is and where the delegate is coming from. So we'll need some kind of stipends, them stay at the election venues. But when it starts getting to such humongous sum of money like recently, it calls for concern, definitely calls for concern.
Thank God Mr. Kelvin is here. So the question Praise asked, we're directing it to you with the expense, and it's from the years. The price has not actually reduced. It keeps getting higher, and it's not going in an arithmetic progression, but in a geometric progression. Like that sounds so intelligent.
Sporadic dimension.
It's going double. So can youth still afford to do clean politics with this cost?
I think it's practically no. The Nigeria Constitution is the first problem of our electionary campaigns. In the sense that before you can go into election, for example, practically, I have gone into an election at the party level, not the general election level. I can remember in 2012 when I wanted to be local government youth leader. I approached the leader of the local government as at that time. So I wanted to be the LGA youth leader of the local government. I can still remember when he told me, "Are you ready?" I said yes. So how much do you have in the bank account? As at that time, I can't even afford 5,000 naira. So I have to leave the race for his elected candidate as at that time. But on the day of the election, the said elected candidate cannot even address the word. Even when he was given the platform to use the Benin language, he couldn't say anything.
But he has money.
Then I can still remember the second leader then, Reverend Matisse Ewoma. He said, "We can't project you as youth leader. Can you come on board?" I got that on the platter of gold. But I thought it was not possible. But I got it. Just because the person who has the money was unable to afford the leadership role he was aspiring for. So bringing it down to the general election itself, you will understand that our leaders don't actually plan for their future. They plan for the next election. So therefore, they will have to put in bulk of money to pursue the next election. Knowing fully well our people are poor because they have subjected us to extremely poverty. That when you hear $1,000, you go to sell your rights. Because presidential elections, like Honorable was saying, is expensive, that I know. But there is also a way you can reduce the cost. For example, you are just on the zoo talking to someone in Kaduna. He doesn't need to take flight or transportation coming to Benin. These things can still be put in place if there is a system that is working. But unfortunately,
if there's a system that is working.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't have a system that is working in Nigeria. You want delegates to come to Abuja at Eagle Square to gather and spend 3, 4, 5 days that run into millions of naira.
Meanwhile, they could actually just
they can easily cast their vote online, and it reflects directly on the central.
Makes it easier, sir.
That is not be done. As a presidential candidate, you took a flight around the whole 32 states, which you can easily do on, like, okay, tomorrow I'll be talking to a Edo State delegate on Zoom. He been in his office in Abuja and talked to a Edo State delegate. We interact. But this thing will no longer be done. They will rather flag down to Edo State, go to government house, go to party leaders, drop the Ghana must go and leave. Then party leader have to transport you to Abuja, lodge you in a hotel. I think I was in Abuja in the presidential. I know what goes on. So it is
you
practically.
were one of the delegates now.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't. Yeah, because I cannot be part of them.
Live here without paying your tithe.
So the system is totally corrupt, and our leaders are not doing anything about it. Rather, they keep on subjecting us to poverty that we may not even have a say. The youth cannot afford 40 million for a presidential ticket, not 20 million for a governorship ticket. And you still want the youth to keep on carrying arms for you. You talk about Edo State, where we have a gunshot. It actually happened in my presence. Oredo was 5 chairman died in my presence.
It's confirmed.
Not that he was shot, but the sound of gun and the tear gases, he gave up. May he so rest in perfect peace. It's as a result of 2 people fighting for the soul of the party without even considering with the Marxists, none every other party members. If you are a card-carrying member of PDP, they know what we are talking about currently. They know what we're talking about. You want to be a leader of the party without followership. The other man wants to be the leader of the party with few followership who are loyal to him. Leaving the general public aside when they're making these decisions. So it now becomes a battle of supremacy. Who owns the delegate? This leads to crisis in the Edo State PDP. That you now have 2 factional candidates.
This crisis is not even peculiar to Edo.
Yeah.
Several states recorded crisis, violence. In fact, I'm going to get to that part in a very short while.
Recording in progress.
Okay. I just want to, let's quickly talk about the violence now. I am asking in my head, what is so spectacular about these positions they are fighting for? You mentioned Nigeria is known as a poor country. In fact, it was recorded the poorest in the world, I think in 2018. And yet, as poor as we are owing so much money. People are still having the do or die mindset. The only politician I can categorically say did not have it is former President Jonathan, who came out after he lost to the President Buhari and said, there's no Nigerian's blood that is worth my office. And so I'm going to step down and leave. So what is wrong with our present politicians that they cannot have that same school of thought as former President Jonathan? And the weapons, the bullets we do not have to fight insurgency. It begins to come
wasting
out
it
during politics. So what's going on? You're a political person.
Most times, I do disagree with Jonathan, but let's put it aside. One thing is to make the statement. Another thing is to follow the statement. We all know what happened in those elections. Yeah, you may lose elections and concede so that blood will not
Be spilled.
spilled too much. But before the process, what was the
blood not
statement?
spilled?
So I actually don't believe in most of these leaders trying to preach peace, maybe after they might have lost or after they might have won. There is what we call pre-elections. That is where the politics began. And this is where blood and gunshot is raining. When you want to contest election, you have to have gags. You have to have bullets. They call them bullets. They arm them, they give them money. Someone said, bro, your guy not give us 2 million, we don't go come up for house. So, as the moment they hear 2 million, over 40 people have to pick up an arms. You divide 2 million naira for 40 people. It cannot even solve their problem. So it is as a result of going down to what I said earlier, poverty. I, for example, you can't tell me I'm going to give you 10 million, come and carry gun. You can't tell me that. So if they have provided a platform for which the youth to excel and be independent on our own, they won't see us to use like that. But the system failed to the extent that we are jobless. Majority, 90% is jobless. And they are at Ring Road looking for daily bread. Somebody can just walk into them and say, okay, go and shoot gun in that place and chase those people. We come back, I'll give you 200,000 naira. Someone who have no 1,000 naira in his bank account, he will actually do that. Yeah, especially maybe he has wife and children at home. He look at 200,000 naira as a bigger money. He had to go into such ventures. He won't consider what might happen in the course of that journey. But if our leaders are able to set the record straight, identify the problem of this country. One, give us a stable electricity where we can as well create employment for ourselves, provide enabling environment with a reduction of taxes and a better environment for individuals to drive their businesses. You will see a lot of talent from those youth they have armed to do political violences. But this has not been done. Without tackling poverty and insecurity in this country, there is no way we will have a free and fair elections.
So are we not saying now that vote buying affects the behaviors of voters? It affects their behavior?
Yes. Vote buying is just something where the Marxists don't really understand what we're doing. You may say of, e.g., some delegates have collected like 1 million naira.
More than that.
I post it on my Facebook page. If you are a delegate and you have collected 1 million naira, and I know you because I know the delegate from Edo State, in 4 years' time, if you come to my DM to say this country is bad, I may arrest you because you contributed to the country that is bad. At least for once, reject it. Let us know that you are not part and parcel of the falling coming upon us. We will have a voice to say, okay, fine, the country is bad, but I was never part of it. For example, in 2019, I never supported any Buhari. Today, I can say whatever happened in Nigeria, I'm not part and parcel of it. Because I never voted for Buhari, I never supported Buhari.
But that really worked because I know the president had supporters even in the South.
Yeah.
I had discussion. Even my late father was a strong Buhari fan, and on that day he was standing in that queue with his aged legs and casted his vote for President Buhari. So you collect money and you pick someone. You don't collect money. Are we not still where we are? With the person who has not been picked still?
We are still where we are on a different level. The fact is this. You took money to work for me. And you believe me, that is why you took the money. And I failed you. You to stand and complain about me, you have little percentage. But if I didn't take money from you, and I believe from the one you are going to fail, and I'm able to tell people you are going to fail, and actually you failed, I can hustle more people to myself to keep saying you are failed, you are failed, you are failed. But when you collect money, you have to keep your mouth shut because you are part of the problem.
Okay. You know what? There's a video circulating on social media that we cannot categorically say it is true, We just want to push play to it so that people will hear. If we'll investigate this, but it's supporting the voter inducement. These ones are saying they're returning the money. They're speaking Hausa. Praise understands Hausa very well. But it's also translated on the video while we try to re-establish connection with Honorable Liman.
Okay.
Gashi nan ana ba ma DG na barista Abbas Bello ana maida mashi kudin shi na takara da yayi wanda ya ba mu delegate wanda muka yi on Monday ya ce a dawo mashi da kudin shi, so ga DG na shi nan muna maida mashi da kudin shi word by word yana ansa. So da haka nan mutanen Boso local government DG na shi na dan takara wanda ake kira barista Abbas Bello ya ce a dawo mashi da kudin shi 100,000 da ya ba mu each delegate. Mu kuma Boso local government mun maida mashi da kudin shi saboda ba ma son wulakanci. Ga DG din shi nan yana kirgawa kowane ward ya ba da naira 300,000 kuma kowanne ana maida mashi shi. Chairmomi na son chairman a faɗi wata ward da wani ward ne suka kawo yanzu nan, wani ward da wani ward ne suka da mashi da shi. Ok, akwai kudin national delegate mai kunkelawar ta kawo nata. Boso Central 1 ma ta ba da 300,000, Cancaga Ward ma ta ba da nata, Metimbi Ward ma ta ba da nata, Boso Central 2 ta dawo da nata, Kampala Ward ma ta dawo da nata, Garatu Ward ma ta dawo da nata, Kodo Ward ma sun dawo da nashi. Yanzu ana jiran ward guda biyu, Shata da Beji, su ma suna hanya za su kawo mashi a ba mu DG nashi ya maida mashi da kudin shi. Mu mun gaji arziki ba matsiyata bane, gashi nan muna maida mashi da kudin shi. Insha Allah za mu maida mashi da kudin shi ko naira 5.
Gyara muke son a yi a ƙasa kuma a haka din da za a fara gyara.
To aka DG shi ya ce di wai za a fara gyara ana dawa da kudin delegate da aka bada. Shi ma yawwa mutanen Boso sun ce daga yau dai kar ya sake neman su ya nemi wasu kuma sun ce kar ya kara cewa shi da haihuwan Boso ne an raba jiha. So muna jiran ward guda biyu yanzu za su kawo a maida mashi da kudin shi idan Allah so ya.
Naira 100,000 a bayan social media, miliyan 2 kuma ka sarrafa su da kai da dalilin.
Samarisa, dan masa jibra godiya.
Ina kake? Ciyaman Gwandu.
Ciyaman Gwandu.
Kai ma nan ga naira miliyan 2,300. 100,000 a ba matasa, 100,000 a ba matan jam'iyya, 100,000 a ba social media.
So godiya barista. Sabarisa. Jangoki mai rangon gwaci kanin mai na kato zai rana mai kai toron giwa ina din kuwa ka jiki ne ka wadi barista.
Ina ciyaman na bunza.
Ciyaman na bunza.
Ya kamata da kai zan fara. Ciyaman na bunza bello mata ya kamata da kai zan fara. Ga naira miliyan 2 da 300,000 na matasa, 100 na mata, 100 na social media.
Kuna da ya gani guda son ka ba ku bi mun ka ba ku wallahi kuma sai mun ƙara ku da haka.
Ina ciyaman na Kalgo.
Ciyaman na Kalgo.
Da mai kama da manya, da wanda ya halittu ya haihu.
Abdul.
Kai ma ga miliyan 2 da 100,000. A ba matasan fati 100,000, a ba mata 100,000, a ba social media 100,000.
Na godiya barista. Wanda haka mai gida. Guda son ka baka bi mun ka baka.
Ina ciyaman na Jega.
Alaye Sanusi Alelu. Alaye Sanusi Jega Alelu.
Mera matsala. Ka san ita Jega matsayi gare ta.
Wannan ne gaske.
Don duk girman sentinel din ga hannun ku take.
Hannun mu take mai gida.
Ga miliyan 2 da 100,000. 100 na mata, 100 na matasa.
Mun gode barista. Guda suka ba su, biyu muka ba su. Guda sun ka ba su biyu muka ba su a.
Chairman na Aleru.
Chairman na Aleru. Chairman na Aleru.
Chairman na Aleru ga miliyan 2 kai da delegate ɗinka. 100 na matasa, 100 na social media, 100 na mata.
Guda sun ka baka biyu mun ka baka. Cika alƙawari don Allah.
Okay, in as much as this video has not been properly investigated, we are worried that if this is true and they are even recording it, there's a cause for alarm.
Sincerely, you know, it's worrisome. Politics in Nigeria has become something that is unprecedented, you know. You see men in their 70s who are supposed to be enjoying their pensions.
Who look 85.
You know, even in their 90s, still pushing and pressing to come back to power.
Might even be sick.
You can imagine. Now, my question now is do or die politics healthy for Nigerian democracy?
It's not healthy at any circumstances at all. But it's rather unfortunate. The oppressed keep singing the praises of their oppressors. So that
the oppressed keep singing the praises of their oppressors.
They are the leaders oppressing with the masses, but we are still singing their praises. We are on strike. A political party is selling presidential ticket for 100 million, and they realize about 30-something billion, including governors. How much was ASHSU demanding? And out of those who are home, who are on strike, you see them on social media campaigning for them. So they are oppressing us. We, the oppressed, keep singing their melodious songs.
Okay, I'm just saying, EFCC was at the venue of the presidential primaries for the PDP. I want to know your thoughts about that, because even though they were there, we were still getting information. And that leads to the fact that we heard hard currencies were shared. Now, currency traders are warning CBN that before the election even comes at 2023, dollar is going to hit 800 naira per dollar because of the huge demand for hard currencies. We've moved beyond sharing naira. Why the dollars? And then, what do you think about the EFCC showing face at the primaries?
But they didn't just show face before Comrade respond. They were actually opening some of these Ghana must go.
They were searching.
Like sightseeing.
Yes.
And going back to their duty posts.
Were they searching to know what their... What's your thoughts? Because I have my thoughts, but my thought doesn't really count.
Yeah, like it's an individual thought. I think EFCC being on the venue is not a new thing. The political party actually wrote a letter to all security agencies in Nigeria to have their representative at the venue, including the EFCC. So they were fully invited.
So with their full chest,
with their full chest.
To go down and they still call the EFCC.
Now they are available. Searching Ghana must go. This country, sometimes I laugh. Someone have been lodged in a hotel for 3 days. And you think at the venue you will come and see dollar in the sand. Why don't you go to the hotel and check?
No, actually, there's a specific part of the video where we saw Ghana must go.
Those Ghana must goes were just tags.
Okay.
Party tags, observer tags, they were loaded when they share at the venue.
Okay.
There is no candidate who left their hotel room because each state were hosted in a particular hotel. When they are done with you, they bring a vehicle for you to bring it to the venue. There is no way you will bring dollars to the venue of the presidential primary. So it's just like they are just deceiving the people that they are doing their work. The hotel was there. The hotel had names and addresses. These people have bank accounts. We know some people didn't take dollar in cash. They asked their sole aspirant, convert it and send to my wife's account. Why can't you trace the account and know how much it is? And you are coming to the venue to search their pocket.
Okay, now,
Can you put 10 million naira in your pocket?
It's not possible.
It's not possible. Security-wise, it's not even possible.
It's not possible.
They have BVN and co. Why don't you check on those things? So this country is the same thing.
They just don't want to do it.
Okay, now, you are a young man, and you have been into politics for a while now. And we've been clamoring for having youths in power. Now, with the rate at which some of these old folks, in quotes, are really, should I use the word, oppressing or refusing to step down, still using dollars and huge sums to buy votes. Do you think youth of this country have a future in politics?
No, we don't have future in politics. I, for example, you know, a time come I have to leave politics and go into business.
You say that.
Since I've been a business, I've been a successful person. So I've left politics for them. I can only come to television and discuss politics. I have nothing to do with them again because you can't afford anything in politics. Anything, even at world level. A certain councillor was chatting me yesterday morning that he thought the local government election was going to work out. That the leaders have collected all his money. He don't even have transport to go back to Port Harcourt where he was working. I said, why will you
a serving councillor or an aspirant?
He's a serving councillor before the tenure was.
Okay.
So you want to come back when the state government said they were going to do local government election March. He came back, all the money he got for the first 4 years, everything. 3 leaders sitting down said, we return you unopposed. He brought the money. After sharing the money, you don't even have transportation going back to Port Harcourt.
Okay.
How can you participate in such exercise? That you have to even sell your property to run a raid that people were supposed to vote for you freely. And when you go to the election day, some people will hold their voters card and sit down. They're looking for the highest bidder. Okay, I vote for PDP, I'll give you 20K.
Yes.
20K.
APC
can 50K.
Exactly. We keep talking about politicians not
Who they
using
follow
votes.
us?
Shouldn't there be some kind of punishment if you're caught collecting money to sell your votes?
That is why I said the whole system has failed. Like we were discussing something about our Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Certainly.
When he had his 2 sons, one in PDP,
one in APC,
they were sharing cars for delegates. For what I know, those people have never worked anywhere in Nigeria. So just because their father is the CJN.
I don't think if that information is...
It's true. They just left. The one in PDP, which I know very well, just graduated. Come for NYSC.
So
I mean, go to House of Assembly. How did he raise money? He told you that friends, they do what they call committee of friends. To donate.
So in politics now, we have committee of friends.
Yeah, they have to donate. They donate for his election. I think that night, I know how much they realized. And I know how much each car is being sold, which is not even tally. So if EFCC want to redo their work, you come and ask this young man, the 19th or so how much were donated to you, and how much have you spent so far?
Interesting.
And the father is the Chief Justice of Nigeria. So the country has failed.
Okay.
It's a failed nation.
We don't even have much time, and there's still so much to talk about. There's always a lot to talk about when we're talking about politics, but I'm just saying, if you paid, a Benin person will say, I bought it and I paid
so
for
what
it.
does that mean now? You bought it and you paid for it. Okay.
So I use it as I like. But can we hold these people accountable? After all, the law says you're coming in, you agreed to come and work. It is the law, but yet you paid for it. So can we still hold these people accountable if they bought and paid for their seats?
You can't hold them accountable because they will tell you, do you know how much I spent for my election?
So I have to recover.
I have to recover. But the only way you can hold them accountable is for you to realize yourself and wait for them the next 4 years and vote them out.
Interesting. Okay. All right, I think
we don't have luxury of time.
Yes.
Certainly whatever has a beginning surely has an end. Well, I think we'll be drawing the curtain here.
Okay, so there's a new program coming up at 9. It's the Business Rendezvous with Dennis Ofik. So you need to, it's the first edition ever in independent television. So make it a date and at least be one of those who will come out to say, I watched the pilot show of Business Rendezvous on ITV. So on behalf of DPO.
Daniel Prezo Sedebame.
Yes. And Daisy Lirasikili will say thank you for your time. Comrade, good to have you here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Have a nice day.